vehicle inventory up, off-lease returns down, used vehicle retail down, vehicle trade-in volume down, and increased sensitivity to fees. Auto auction execs are closely monitoring dealer volumes in vehicle wholesale. Join the live chat as we discuss the auto auction market update Q3 2024. Please say hello, make new friends, and learn from the best on ATI Auto Business. What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI Auto Business, Automotive Ecosystem, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. Let's get started with top industry news and headlines that include Chrysler's great-grandson wants it back, Ford shifts DEI policy into reverse, and auction executives are showing concern. What we're going to do is we have a panel of the Auto Auction Market Update Q3 2024 with Dave Sutton, Jamye Carpenter, Joe Overby, Pamela Bishop, and Scott Kolb. They'll be joining us soon. Please do leave a like, jump in the live chat, say hello, what's going on, 925. And remember, you can like and share. What's up, YouTube? What's up, LinkedIn? Here we've got some links and people and action items, and it's show 362 in a row on a Tuesday on ATI. It's Automotive Ecosystem. We're talking about auctions. So we've seen recent headlines. The auction groups continue to get larger, and yet we see dealers pushing back. So what is the story? We're going to talk about it on Auction Market Update. We are also in some takeaways from a roundtable that happened last month. But the difference is that ATI is where everyone learns more about how the automotive industry actually works. I say know your ecosystem, OEM, dealer, auction, logistics, recon, remarketing, compliance, and tech. And ATI is your neutral zone. We are the ecosystem's neutral zone, and it's something to be proud of. So that's why we're here. That's what we're doing. We have Dave Sutton with us tonight. We have Jamye Carpenter with JRC Innovative Solutions. Joe Overby from Cherokee Media is with us. Pamela Bishop from Run Buggy is with us. And also Scott Kolb. He is now with Hansen and Adkins working in customer service. And by the way, shout out Scott Kolb, just completed his lifetime car certification. Wow. So cool. I have, from very early on, been a huge fan of the car certification program. I've wanted to know as much about it as I can. I've had several shows featuring the Automotive Remarketing Alliance, which they are now called, and I am proud of the content I've created in the past. I'm looking forward to making more great content in the future. This is Tuesday night. It's Automotive Ecosystems. Thanks so much for joining me. I sure do appreciate it. Last Tuesday, we had Dealership Lawsuit 101 with Tom Klein. Some great shows, some great nuggets, great video shorts came out of that. Next Tuesday, we're going to do a Convertible Concepts trailer launch live from Auto Haulers Association of America with Convertible Concepts. That's going to be great. Shout out Dennis Manns. Thanks for that. And if you don't see what happens on Thursdays, got some shorts on that too. But last Thursday, self-dispatch load boards, that was quite a show, actually. If you haven't seen that or heard it, and you're looking for some spice in your life, check out self-dispatch load boards. Book it now, carriers. And the consternation continues this Thursday with unethical business practices. Wow, really? In automotive? Hard to believe. Let's go ahead and go into delivering auto ecosystem news on Tuesday nights. It's only 5 after. Chrysler's great-grandson wants to buy the OEM from Stellantis. Frank Rhodes Jr., the great-grandson of Walter Chrysler, said on Friday he sent a proposal to Stellantis and CEO Carlos Tavares to acquire and reinvigorate the iconic Chrysler Dodge Plymouth brands, keep them in the USA with American stockholders, and to bring back local buyers who now are limited to 4 uninspired car models. Rhodes titled his proposal Chrysler Reborn. Now what I want to do is I'm going to share a link in the live chat. And I couldn't get the link to the PDF, but you do want to download a copy. If you click on that link, it'll take you to the article that I'm reading from now, and you'll see on the screen it says it's available online here. If you click there, it'll take you to a PDF that you can download, save, peruse, share, and brag about. In it, quote, "My plan is to make the classic comeback for the Chrysler brands, good for America, for the economy, good for the employees, and just in time for its 100th anniversary. Chrysler Reborn is the plan for 2025. Let us stop the downward spiral under the Stellantis ownership," Rhodes said in a news release. Quote, "I believe that my plan would allow Stellantis a graceful exit from a brand that, in my opinion, it has no interest in keeping and has been steadily killing off its brands," end quote. Rhodes said he plans to attend UAW rallies to support the reemployment of laid-off workers, the promises of new models, as well as the revitalization of the brands. For example, in his PDF, this year Stellantis allocated an enormous $3.2 billion amount to repurchasing shares instead of allocating those significant funds to the Chrysler Dodge brand reinvigoration. Seems like a good point. By the way, did you notice how many American consumers shun all the Italian brands like Alfa and the low-quality ranked Fiat cars? Fiat sold just 605 cars in the USA in 2023. That is the kind of conversation, neutral zone stuff I'm talking about. Boy, oh boy. Do you have to fight hard to say something that you really believe in? In fact, Ford announces a major shift in diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy. No way. DEI is on the run. Ford announced a major shift in its diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI strategy, including ending its involvement in the LGBTQ plus advocacy group's ranking system. This change aligns Ford with other U.S. companies, JP Morgan, Chase, Harley-Davidson, that have recently redefined their DEI programs under pressure from conservative groups. Now, that's the part that's too bad. It's too bad it's from other pressure. Can't you just do what you believe in? Ford CEO Jim Farley communicated the decision in a memo to employees stating, "We are mindful that our employees and customers hold a wide range of beliefs." See? That's fine. Yeah. And the external and legal environment related to political and social issues continues to evolve. Yeah. The company's new approach will focus more on employee and customer care rather than engaging in public debates on polarizing issues. There we go. That'll work. The modification of DEI policies among U.S. corporations comes in response to increasing scrutiny from conservative legal organizations and public shareholder letters challenging the legality of such programs. That's too bad. This trend follows a June 2023 U.S. Supreme Court ruling invalidating affirmative action in university admissions, which, although not directly affecting employers, has influenced broader discussions on DEI initiatives. Ford's decision to withdraw from certain external cultural surveys, including those conducted by the Human Rights Campaign, reflects a broader corporate trend of adjusting DEI practices. The pendulum swings. This decision was made in early 2024 as part of the shift towards enhancing internal networking, mentorship, professional development, and community service within the company. Human Rights Campaign president and conservative activists have criticized Ford's decision to change its employment policies back to what they were. Stated that Ford is neglecting its financial obligation to attract and retain top talent from a diverse pool. Yeah, there's the code word diversity. You get a trophy, you get a trophy, everybody gets a trophy. Not anymore. Why dealership volumes at auctions are number one concern. AI and potential impact to the presidential election also were topics discussed by the NAAA at Mannheim, Detroit. The NAAA execs here said they're closely monitoring recoveries and downturns in volumes at wholesale vehicle auctions with a keen focus on where future dealer inventory comes from. What issues are of concern or interest to the association's member auctions? The number one concern right now is volume, specifically dealer volume. A lot of volume we sell, quote, that is classified as dealer volume in the lanes. A significant portion of that comes from the new car franchise dealership with trades, or even from independents that take vehicles in as trades. You have dealers now willing to spend $2,500, $3,500 to make a car eligible to get it up to standard so they can retail it. Those were traditionally cars that all came to the auctions that the independent dealers would buy for their businesses, and so we don't have as many of those vehicles in the lanes on the dealer side. Looking at AuctionNet data, dealer sales at auctions are down 4% year over year. New vehicle sales are up by 2% year over year, but the number of vehicles coming with a trade-in is flat. If you add used vehicle retail sales in the equation, those are down. Trade-ins are down. Used retail sales are down. So there are just fewer of those dealer vehicles available to come back to the auction. In CBT News, focused on the dealer maximizing profitability in the used car market amid price corrections, you'll find. With new car inventories near pre-pandemic levels, the used car market is experiencing a significant price correction. The recent surge in new car inventories has led to a ripple in the used car market. Increased availability of new vehicles means consumers have more choices, pushing down used car prices. Dealerships should prioritize acquiring vehicles in high demand and have a proven history of quick turnover, which involves leveraging data to identify the most popular makes and models that consistently attract buyers. Traditionally, less desirable, slower-moving trade-ins would be sent off to auctions. However, with used car prices undergoing significant corrections, shifting these vehicles to the used car lot instead of the auction can be a more profitable approach. And there you have it in black and white. Even this is Monterey Car Week auction. Now this is, higher end stuff, but why did auction sales at Monterey Car Week 2024 fall below expectations? You look at the graph and it looks like numbers are actually returning more to normal. Going back to normal. So why the change? In one respect, what happened at Monterey is a reflection of a wider trend. Some of those who attended the Monterey event reported an unease in the market and an element of political discussion that has been less evident in the past. Tension about politics again. The U.S. is an election year, and that means uncertainty. The tax rules and other legislation that will dominate the next 4 years isn't yet written. By the way, NAAA and AAA among 120 law enforcement, industry, and community organizations seeking catalytic converter anti-theft legislation is happening. The NAAA, joined by 120 others, groups, they sent a letter to Congress urging passage of federal legislation to combat catalytic converter theft. The bipartisan Preventing Auto Recycling Theft PART Act, NADA explained this proposal gives law enforcement additional tools to fight catalytic converter theft, which has risen by nearly 900% between 2019 and 2023. Yeah, that's a problem. Due to valuable precious metals used in the devices, experts say stolen catalytic converters can garner $20 to $350 in the black market, but the replacement cost to a vehicle owner could be as high as $2,500. The organizations contend catalytic converters can be stolen in less than a minute from unattended vehicles, and because they lack identifying marks, they're not easily traceable, making it difficult to prosecute many cases. The legislation would give local law enforcement additional resources to prosecute thieves by requiring new vehicles to have traceable numbers stamped on the catalytic converter. The proposal also increases record-keeping requirements for purchasers and establishes a federal criminal penalty for the theft, sale, trafficking, or unknown purchase of stolen catalytic converters for up to 5 years in jail. It's going to be a massive undertaking. Carvana CEO survives to tell a comeback tale. This was the big story at the roundtable a few weeks ago. It was 2 years ago, Carvana CEO and founder Ernie Garcia appeared on stage at the Automotive Remarketers Alliance Summer Roundtable in Nashville, and that was 2022. He was in damage control mode after the company bought ADESA. He tried to reassure the audience that the used car retailer would turn around its wild ride of losses and share price volatility. The company's stock price hit an all-time low in December 2022 compared to all-time high in August 2021. After Wall Street analysts worried about bankruptcy, Carvana restructured debt, adjusted, and revived its business model following a tighter post-pandemic used vehicle market and further integrated the physical auction operations. Now, It's no secret that everybody's been paying attention to what's been going on in Carvana. I also take a look here and there. But what most impressed me, what I heard, and we're going to hear about this tonight, is that, and it surprised me. I was surprised. I was impressed. I had several thoughts. At the roundtable on August 21st on Wednesday at about 2:15 p.m., a fireside chat with Ernie Garcia, moderated by John Combs. Apparently, Ernie Garcia, I guess he just kind of put his cards on the table and really talked to the audience in a meaningful way about what's going on, how he felt, what he really thought. And I think between the news, and that's what surprised me about that session, is there a movement towards truth and comebacks and getting back to what we actually believe in? Is that a thing? Are we doing that? That would be cool. That would be really cool. We're going to learn more about this chat. I'm excited to also say that we're going to be back at Used Car Week. Lenders moving repo cars, old habits die hard. This is a session about truth and what we actually think, and actually trying to build bridges, and hopefully moving towards real community. By the way, auto repossessions are up 23% compared to last year. That should help the auctions. So I think that's going to be coming up too. We're going to get into auto auction market update. We are the neutral zone. And if you want to learn more, if you want to actually learn more, join us. We cross the aisle on the verticals. Leverage ATI on your business. I don't ship cars. I move information. Get the podcast. Go to ATIAutobusiness.com. Do me a favor, stick around. Right after this, we're going to be live with our panel. I'm excited to reconnect and talk about Summer Roundtable. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Transport Auto Quoter is by far the leading auto quoting software on the market, and the only auto quoter with a pro version that comes preset with accurate pricing for anywhere in the U.S. So you don't have to worry about it. The best part is that no change with your current software is needed. Just plug TAQ in and start booking jobs. Carriers can easily plug TAQ into their current websites and start making money right away. I bet you're wondering how we do this instantly and accurately 24/7. Well, constant analytics is the key. Our Price Watch team is constantly monitoring current market conditions, paying close attention to seasonal and quick-moving industry changes. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and data to maintain good pricing, time that most of us just don't have on a daily basis. So free yourself up. Using TAQ Pro is really a no-brainer. Save time and money, maximizing your leads and optimizing your online investments. You'll finally be able to sleep well at night knowing that TAQ is on the job selling for you 24/7. Never missing a potential job.
All right, we need to brainstorm for this commercial. How do we show our audience that we're the best auto transport platform in the industry?
Oh, we need to show them our dispatch manager. Optimizing routes has never been easier.
We should definitely show them our EDI management screen. Managing contracts is simple with ClearPath's EDI toolkit. Who doesn't want to work with the big manufacturers?
These are all great ideas, but we need to highlight what makes us special.
Sure, we can talk about all our awesome features, but the bottom line is we invest in every single one of our clients, giving them the power to scale up and increase their revenue.
That's perfect.
Auto Hauler Exchange has revolutionized the way vehicle haulers and vehicle shippers collaborate. The Exchange B2B marketplace connects vehicle haulers directly to shippers in a frictionless manner. The Exchange helps vehicle haulers maximize their capacity while eliminating empty miles. The Exchange is the first true B2B marketplace of its kind in the vehicle logistics industry. By connecting carriers and shippers directly, carriers can save time and choose which opportunities fit their needs each day. At the same time, shippers can rest assured that their vehicles are being moved by qualified, vetted carriers who fit their vetting program. The Auto Hauler Exchange has democratized the vehicle logistics industry by eliminating the middlemen and connecting shippers directly to available carriers.
Why does a broker get a percentage of every load you move when clearly you could be working directly with carriers? Go around the broker. Get faster car shipping. Visit AutoHaulerExchange.com. Links are in the live chat. Bold statements. Okay, here we go. Please do help me wish a warm welcome to my auction market update panel. Can everybody see me and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. I'll do introductions, right? Jay, that's your job. So I see Jamye first on my screen. Jamye Carpenter, JRC Innovative Solutions is here with us tonight. Dave Sutton with Montway with us tonight. Pamela Bishop with Run Buggy. You know Joe Overby, Cherokee Media Group. Scott Kolb, now with Hanson and Adkins. Okay, that was quick. That was brief. I haven't seen many of you in a while, so it's great to see you again. You went to a conference last month. Who wants to kick us off? What was that?
Everyone's being so polite because we're all friends. We know each other. So I choose Jamye. Jamye, why don't you kick us off?
Well, thanks. That's because I'm not really your friend, right?
No, we're not competing anymore.
That's right. We're not. That's right.
Now, Scott Kolb, that's different. But you're in
right. Yeah. So we were at the Summer Roundtable, and I thought it was great. There were the first night we were there, and maybe that's why Dave passed it to me. Grow Global Remarketing of Women had a live and silent auction, and the money we raised went towards scholarships for the ACT and car certifications. And we raised enough money to give 8 to 10 car certs and about 5 to 7 ACT. So super excited about that. Really pumped. And those scholarship applications, actually we extended those. So a little plug, if you want to submit an application for certification, you can go to the GROW website, grow2022.com, and submit an application there. And I guess the other thing that I will mention, I did a workshop on AI. Is AI a novelty or is it a necessity? And it was actually really awesome. John Coles with ACV, Dr. J, as we called him in our workshop. And I'm going to stick with Robbie J because I butcher his last name every time I try to say it. But Robbie is with AutoNation out of Florida. And we talked about, is AI a novelty or is it a necessity? And we took questions from the audience and had a great conversation. And I think that we could all agree it's not a novelty, nor is it a necessity quite yet, but that's coming. And we know that we've got to start figuring out today how we're going to use it for condition report writing, imaging, transportation, valuations, and customer service. And we specifically focused on condition report writing and the imaging, understanding that a lot of folks are using that today. Already. So that's kind of what we focused on. I thought, overall the speakers and the workshops were great. I will say it again. There are workshops that I want to attend, but they have conflicting workshops. And so that's always a bummer. But other than that, I thought it was really great.
Yeah, you really have to plan where you want to go because they are conflicting. So you can't go to everything, or you go to part of it and then you hop over to the next one.
Exactly. Right. And I think we would all agree that Steve Greenfield probably stole the stage. As always, he is just so smart. He's been in the industry for so long. He really talked about the history of the industry itself, even showing, logos and pictures from way back when. And I'm really embarrassed to admit that I was around for most of those. But yeah, he did just a phenomenal job talking about where we were and where we're moving into the future. I heard you talking about Ernie earlier. I personally missed the Ernie Garcia talk, but that was also something that everybody was discussing after fact.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Jamie, that you say you missed that, because that was, like, for me, the highlight of the conference. I recorded it just because what a success story with Carvana and what they've been able to do. They've clearly got their footing. Ernie's the guy that, back in the day, I worked for Ross Perot. I worked for Carfax. I worked for some great Crusade companies, and I think Carvana's the current Crusade company. And you just got to cheer for them. What a remarkable story that was, and a great keynote feature. You mentioned Steve Greenfield. Stevie G, I remember back in the day meeting him. He was in Mannheim, Toronto, and I think he was the number 2 or number 3 guy in the fleet department up there. But clearly, when he came into the room, we all knew he was the smartest guy in the room, and you look at him now.
So if you recorded it, that means you can share it, and it'll be like I didn't miss it.
Maybe.
There you go, Jane.
Yeah, I'd agree. I thought the Ernie Garcia session was just incredible, and I thought the format lended itself really well to, as you mentioned, Jay, in the outset, just very candid, very very honest, no holds barred interview, and you would think, on paper, you're thinking, okay, a guy is interviewing his boss, essentially. How good is it going to be? But honestly, it was one of the best conversations. And I think having those fireside chats, where it's 2 people and they're both free to kind of speak openly and candidly, really, fosters a good, a session where you can take away a lot, about, Ernie went into his personal journey. He went into things like, the relationship with his kids and that kind of thing. He went into just how he was able to, a couple notes here I had, he found people at Carvana that are absolute fighters. He said we had a lot of good people that stood up and fought. Talked about how pressure is that, things, when you don't have pressure on you, things can dissipate. But under extreme pressure, that's when, you're able to pull through and do things you didn't know you were capable of. And then even got into a lot of, it was because, John Combs was the guy interviewing him, bringing the ADESA perspective. He was able to talk a lot about kind of the nuts and bolts 2 years into it, what the ADESA acquisition brings, which is what, the audience there is a lot of auctions and consigners and people in the wholesale business are interested in hearing about.
What was the quote he said? More high school, less college, in the sense of just experiences.
Yeah.
Like, it's great you go to this big college, this big fancy college, but if you don't have experience in this industry, like, you don't know how to prepare for what you don't know how to prepare for. And that's how
exactly.
and he just needed support during that, which was good to hear how he got it. The support is much quieter than, the naysayers, if you will.
And speaking of that, I did get to see Doug Campbell, and I heard that it was a little similar in just the storytelling of their career, and I left just floored. I mean, he's such a quiet man with a great smile, so my expectation was that it would be enjoyable just because I could see him smile on stage, but he blew me away, absolutely. And I did, like you, Joe, I took a few notes there too, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. I thought was just great. A team is like an engine. Each part must work in harmony to drive the organization forward. Without the right people in place, even the most powerful engine will stall. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, he had to, bring up Kirby Smart with Georgia. I don't know why he couldn't say something about our coach, but it was really good. You will have to make hard decisions that negatively impact people you care about. You will be disliked despite that's really hard. You will be disliked despite your best attempts to do the best for the most, and you will be misunderstood, and you won't always have the chance to defend yourself. And I think, a lot of people find themselves in that same spot, and he just left feeling renewed and refreshed and excited about my journey. Like Dave, I spent most of my career with Auto Check, but I have, been a few different places in the last couple of years, and it really makes you stop and realize what's important. And he does talk about why did you leave, and he shared some of the reasons he left his CEO positions over the years. And I think the takeaway I had was being valued and feeling like you're making a difference. And when you don't feel valued or like you're making a difference anymore, it's time to move on to something different. And that really resonated with me. But I just thought he was amazing.
What did you like, Scott?
Well, I kind of agree with everybody. I thought, when you peel back the onion, and you have the opportunity to peel back the onion and get to really see the humanness, if you will, of these people, especially a billionaire like Ernie, and just being so transparent about the challenges that they've had since getting the company started and some of the financial challenges that they've had. I saw it was extraordinary. And I go back to, it's so great. It was so great to be there. It's just so great to see everybody, all the knowledge and the skills and abilities that kind of transcend that whole conference, as will happen here in the next couple months with Joe and his team. But you just can't replace those time. That networking time is extraordinary. Just conversation.
And there was a lot of it, I thought, at this conference, a lot more than you get, at some other conferences. But they really made the time to let you talk and discuss and really network.
Yeah, the venue was perfect for that. I mean, it's such a beautiful location. As long as you didn't go outside during the day and melt, but as long as you weren't foolish enough to do that, one of my favorite sessions was Remarketing 201. So that was Dan Kennedy and Brian McIntyre presented that. And I don't know Brian, but I know Dan. I know Dan well, and he's one of my mentors in the remarketing industry, as is Scott, as is Linda Silverstein. When I came up, just started attending these things 15, 16 years ago, I didn't know what I didn't know. And to sit through Dan's going through his Remarketing 201 and talking through, here's the playbook, guys. There's no trade secrets here. Here's the playbook. And getting into the ins and outs and the how-tos. I just think anybody who's handling vehicles that are depreciating now, and guess what? Surprise, shocking story, vehicles depreciate. You better understand Remarketing 201, because I think there's maybe been some sloppiness that's come into the industry, thinking that cars appreciate in value in the last few years. Complete anomaly. You got to get back to the fundamentals. And I thought Dan and Brian did a wonderful job walking through the basics of what it's like to be a good seller. And that applies to commercial consigners and dealer consigners. What does it mean to be a good seller? Do the dealers who are bidding on your cars, do they hold back a little bit on the uncertainty discount? Like, yeah, I'm not sure. What's the gotcha with this car? Or is this a seller that's going to represent the cars fairly and honestly and clearly? And if there's an issue, they're just going to buy the car back. And I think, for me, that was like one of those times where I just like nodded, and he was like knocking the rust off of things that I thought I used to know. And but I still know he knows a ton more than I do. So I thought it was a great session.
I'm glad to know you were there, and that's the reason why you weren't in my session. See, we put up against each other. I missed him.
That's the only reason, because I think artificial intelligence, I've got a presumed thing, is it's a year or two away from really having a big impact. if you can't put your head in the sand to it, but it would be interesting to see, you think about the audience who's going to be impacted by it. I don't think it's people of my generation. I think it's the next generation. So you need to be thinking about how that's going to play to them and how that impacts your business and how you want to harness the power of that. But it's not a silver bullet. I've learned over the years, there are 0 silver bullets.
But it's definitely here, and it's actually implemented. So, I mean, it's here on a lot of levels. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there trying to make AI work in a lot of different ways. I mean, customer service, right? As far as like how we are more efficient, more scalable, that's how we're using it, right? We're using it internally to, we want to capture tribal knowledge, right? Like, because there's so much tribal knowledge in the automotive world, and it's like, how do you capture it? Like, AI can be used for so much good. We kind of focus on how it's not good, but, you know, I know we are focusing on the good that it can do and how we can continue to be scalable and focus on our customers, because we all here agree that we want to take care of our customers, right? And so how do we best do that? How do we best use our people for what people need to be used for? And then how do we use AI to take care of things that our people shouldn't be doing? Because there's a lot of inefficiencies out there. There's a lot of paper out there, and we could be using our people, you know, for much better use and purpose.
I love your observation about tribal knowledge. I mean, that's just so respectful of all the insight and experience that people have. And, you know, the people managing their careers is fairly transient. And if a company doesn't have a way to capture and maintain and to enhance and build upon that tribal knowledge, it's a severe disadvantage.
And I hate to
taking
it, you know?
taking what you said, and what actually both of you said, Pamela and David, Dave, I don't know why I said David. I guess I read it. Sorry.
In trouble.
Right? Oh gosh. But it's both, right? Like the 2 years you're talking about and the tribal knowledge that you're referencing, that's why you've got to be prepared now, because it takes that, you know, you've got to have learning and we've got to train the AI. And so that's a lot of what we talked about, was you've got to adopt it now so that you're not left behind in those 2 years when it hits the ground running.
Yeah, because AI isn't instant, right? It's data over time. It's training over time. And it's just like a child. You got to teach it in the right way. If you don't teach it in the right way, sure, it's dangerous. But if you teach it in the right way and you get ahead of the game, then you're going to be prepared for anything.
This is cool. This is great to see you guys talk about this stuff. I feel like I got Pamela and then listening to y'all, pretty good recap of much of what was happening on stage. So now I want to talk about, I guess, in between the lines. I'm going to start with repossession. Was repossession talked about?
Yeah, we talked about it from a transportation perspective in one of the breakouts. I mean, you can't get around it. I mean, it's a big piece of the volume of cars that are out there in the remarketing world right now. All the gloves are off, all the stuff from COVID and all the safety precautions and that's gone. However, the recovery industry is short-staffed. There's a lot of challenges in moving those cars. You talk to the financial institutions, and so they work with the forwarders, they work with the recovery yards, they work with the transportation agencies. I mean, one of the things we're going to be talking about, Jay, at Used Car Week is, I think we are. So I really think, you know, my premise going into that discussion is, within a transport company, whether it's Run Buggy or Montway or somebody else, we kind of have our stuff together. We know how it works, and it all works fairly well. And within an auction environment, the auctions are pretty well fine-tuned machines, and so are the recovery yards. It's in the intersections where we kind of contact with one another, and those things where there's some opportunities to improve. And the opportunities to improve are with data sharing, the timeliness, the efficiencies, and the accuracy of the information. So we're going to cover that at Used Car Week. We touched a little bit about that in one of the sessions, but that's, to me, this is my absolute, I've been doing these things for, sadly, almost 20 years. My absolute favorite conference is the Summer Roundtable, because it is a smaller conference. It's people who are there in people are coming in with tons of experience or newbies, everything in between. Some are commercial consigners, everyone wants to chat with them, but they also want to be sure, frankly, they have more in common with the people at that conference than they do at anybody back at home office. And that is the blessing and the curse of remarketing. And so if you didn't attend, if you're a commercial consigner, you should attend next year. And no matter where you're at in your industry experience, the programming is spectacular. And as Jamye mentioned earlier, the networking opportunities to have that brief conversation over a cocktail or a cup of coffee, it can replace 10 emails, waiting for responses, etc. You can advance your knowledge and your company's interest so good if you do these conferences well.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's so much about learning and mentorship and partnership and solutions. Like, I love that I could go up and talk to anyone and be like, just teach me. Tell me about this. I don't know about this, but I know that you know everything about this because everybody tells me you know everything about this, and you get to be face to face with some of the legends in this arena, and to get that one-on-one time and just learn from them is invaluable. I mean, you learn through your car certification, you learn through all these sessions and breakouts, but the real life experience and knowledge that you get one-on-one, to me, was really invaluable.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point, because when we started IARA, and it's been, I think it's 24 years this year, there was always this expectation that we could keep it boutique and small. And it's kind of nice and refreshing in today's day and age, with some of these mega conferences that we all have to go to kind of have a finite group of people that we know we're going to be able to see, and we're going to be able to connect with, and we're going to be able to, as you pointed out, Pamela, have those conversations, talk about solutions and how we can help make things better. And I'm glad to see they stayed that small.
Still there.
And then ARA is taking that a step further with their mentorship program and their Hands Up program. And I was super excited about both of those. I think, I've really tried in my career to notice the person who is the newbie and to go up and speak to them and introduce them to everybody I know. But there's always a person that you may not get introduced to just because they maybe aren't in the auction world, they're in the remarketing, and you do more work in the auction world. But I thought that they really are gonna, from what I understood about the programs, they're going to be able to touch everyone, and that's super exciting. Whether you are the CEO or you are the title clerk at the auction, there is a place and a mentor for you, and I think that's going to be really great. And that kind of ties back to what you were saying, Scott, with how when you guys decided that you were going to create this conference, that's what it was meant to do: educate everybody, not just the people that are out there repping cars or trying to get cars to take to auction.
And give it back,
Yep.
And just from a learning perspective, I've got to give a shout out to how the agenda was structured and organized in the sessions. So I had way back in high school, I had a class called ELP, Economic, Legal, and Political Systems. And I think that this conference really delved into each of those, of how they apply to the auction. You had the economist panel, you had a panel on the import-export market, all about the considerations of moving cars from the U.S. to Canada. You had a panel of, basically industry advocacy, how lobbying works, what, it's more than just, K Street in Washington, D.C. It's about, speaking up for an industry, learning and educating lawmakers and people in all three executive branches. And then, getting into the kind of the infrastructure. A big part of Ernie's talk was just about, the infrastructure of Odessa and Carvana. So you really I mean, it felt like I was back in my favorite social studies class of all time, and learning about all these things. And um, I was on the ground, I think, for 48 hours, and I came away with a half dozen story ideas from this conference.
That's awesome.
I love that perspective. Perfect.
Hey,
That is pretty awesome.
We would be remiss if we didn't celebrate Scott Kolb becoming a lifetime certified
Yes.
automotive remarketer.
Scotty.
Yeah, that is amazing, Scott. That's awesome.
Been a long time.
Congratulations.
I got stories.
Yeah, but I sent you, I Venmoed you $20, so the stories are on hold. What am I?
Thanks. By the way, thank you for your nice note. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, it's true. I mean, frankly, here's some things people don't think about. If you're a dealer listening to this, the commercial consignor is just like you. I mean, they have a certain amount of inventory that they need to take the wholesale markets. They want to do so as effectively as possible. They need to be a good seller. They need to do the appropriate level of recon, et cetera. But the problem with the commercial consignor is the scale is much larger, and they have a lot of helping hands in that. But Scott, when you're with Honda, I mean, I can't imagine how many billions of dollars of vehicles you guys sold annually. I know when I was with little Volkswagen and Audi North America, we were selling $2 billion worth of used cars a year. I was in charge of that. I don't know what they were thinking, but we had an awesome team of, So we had an awesome team of 60 people, but I'll tell you what, the remarketing is the biggest little industry no one's ever heard of.
Right.
But really what it is all the things that a dealer does. I mean, we can't retail the cars. Our role within our companies is to wholesale the cars efficiently, effectively, get good prices for the cars, and to work well with the other players in the industry. And the way that you learn how to work well with the other players in the industry, you need to understand what they do, thus Certified Automotive Remarketer Program. And then you need to maintain a current list of contacts, whether they're competitors like Pamela with Run Buggy, or whomever. Those are the people that they're walking the same journey that you are. And when you go to these conferences, what a great opportunity to, there's some things you don't share, but there's a lot of things that you can, trade notes on, to, steel sharpens steel. And I've been extremely blessed in my career to have some great mentors, including Scott Kolb, Linda Silverstein, Dan Kennedy, and some great competitors like Jamye Carpenter, and the newest is Pamela. I like you and I love you both.
Feel the same way.
There's plenty of cars.
That's right.
But to come full circle, we were talking about, there's shortage of inventory. Like, how do we keep the ecosystem going? And I think ARA is all about how do we keep the ecosystem going? How do we keep working together, filling the gaps, or fixing the gaps? The partnership and the solutioning at ARA was excellent. Just not only working with customers there or potential customers, right? But also just working with other vendors, right? And like, how can we solution for our customers to keep things moving? Because right now, everybody's feeling that pressure. And so how do we all become diamonds together? Because the pressure is intense right now.
Perfect. All right. That's what I wanted to ask about. Because the thing is that, all right, number one, I really am glad that I have a friendship with each of you, and that I like to ask hard questions if I can. And I know we're live, okay. But and there's a good part of this too, is that Dave, firsthand that if I can find a place to build a bridge where there isn't one, I will work very hard to do that. So where are these gaps and pressure and problems in the auction and remarketing industry right now and in the near foreseeable future?
Jay, you hit on it when you started the conversation. Dave hit on it as well. Pamela as well. I mean, the repo industry, you look at the increases in the volumes of the defaults that are coming back. People are challenged right now. And so with interest rates being where they are, et cetera, those volume numbers have gone up, and you're talking about single unit moves. And that probably is the greatest challenge, I would say, that we see in the remarketing space, specifically on the logistics side that many of us work in. And just being able, if you think about it, that agency, he or she has a lot, and they can only repossess so many cars and store them on the lot. So if you think about it in terms of days, if a lender is not going to move a car for 30 days, that agency can only repossess one car every 30 days. If that lender turns cars in 20 days, then that agency could repossess 2 cars in that time span. So really, there's no storage capacity at some of these places, and their rent's gone up, their insurances have gone up, the expensive equipment has gone up, and I think we're all conditioned to the Amazonation of the world. So cheaper, faster, etc. So I think that's probably that's what I would say. I think that's the greatest challenge are those single unit moves. And I think there's a lot of conversation around how we solve for that.
Yeah, because it's not just the single unit moves. It's like people they don't understand the recovery business, and I think that's a huge blind spot for a lot of us. Working to clear that up myself, for me personally and for my company, but the recovery agents out there, I mean, it's very fragmented. There's a lot of mom and pop operations out there, and they're, like you mentioned, Scott, they are real estate constrained. So, they don't want to earn money on storage fees. They'd rather, cycle through as quickly as possible. But they've got transporters like us calling or looking online, trying to get the information. Is the vehicle available? Does it run, start, drive, steer, brake, all that other stuff? Does it have keys? Meanwhile, they also have to set aside certain time for the consumers who are coming to pick up the personal property, or maybe to pick up the vehicle because they've redeemed, etc. They've got cars coming in, they've got cars leaving, they've got liability issues. You need to bring in the right truck or tow truck or rollback onto their lots. It's very, very fragmented out there. So I think hours. Hours are tough, with the appointments and such.
But again,
it's not a knock on them, but it's information. We need to get more efficient in how we can work and play nice together.
It's knowledge gaps. It's making sure that you partner with somebody with the right tools. Maybe if you don't have it, can you outsource it, right? The vendors for the vendors here, right?
Right.
Because go ahead.
Yeah, my work with PAL is the same way with pre-owned auto logistics, right? I mean, we talk about the same thing around the table, and I think, to go back what you were saying, Dave, and Scott, like, it is not having enough information up front a lot of times. Does it run? Does it have keys? Those things that nobody really knows, or they think they know, and then it's not like that when you show up. And why is there a delay? Well, that's part of it. And we do have great tools like AI, that can help us with some of that. But it's definitely a difficult thing.
Well, even though, repo data networks, right? I mean, there's other things that we can use as well that really help. And then also building those relationships. So, I mean, this whole industry is based on relationships, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Again, we use like our tools, not just AI, but other tools, our tech and other vendor tools out there, and we integrate so that we can focus on the relationships, because some of our customers are big business, and then the repo lots, like you said, are mom and pop. So how do we connect that gap, right? And make sure that
wait. Talk a little slower. I can't keep up taking notes, Pamela. Slow down. But you're absolutely right. It's the relationships. You need to understand these recovery yards and what are their pains and how you can work with them. And you can, complain all you want, but that doesn't get us anywhere. We need to figure it out, and those who figure it out will win, and those who don't figure it out, they basically clog up the system. So it's great to hear you saying those things. We're trying to do the same things here too. Joe,
Look at all winners.
I'm a little worried about Joe. We haven't given Joe enough airtime. And if I know Bill, Joe gets paid by the word. So let's help Joe out a little bit.
Joe's got the best beard here, so.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've got a 2,000 word essay I'm going to read on air, so I can get that word count up. But,
awesome.
No, and you guys are talking about relationships and where these pieces can connect, and not to do a shameless self plug here, but that's a lot of the goals of Used Car Week is to bring the disparate parts of the process. We have mom and pop repo agents at Used Car Week that, maybe they need to have a conversation with a transport provider or, a forwarding company or other pieces of the system. And, ARA Summer Roundtable, same goal. They do the same thing in terms of bringing these pieces of the ecosystem together so they can build those relationships.
That's a good point, Joe. You all have done a really nice job of tying all those pieces together and make it in a really nice process over the course of that week that you all.
Thanks.
Really good panels, really good podcasts coming at you with Used Car Week. So really excited. As I'm just like, there's other conventions coming, right? But like everybody's kind of focused on Used Car Week. There's already so much planning that's going in.
Yeah.
Because you have to make the most of your time. It's jam packed, and there's a lot of people you want to see, but there's a lot of panels that you want to listen to as well. And how do you balance it all? So
we started out in the beginning. You talked about going back to the summer roundtable and getting ready for that. Is here's my book. I don't know if you can see it. I've got all these notes, all this. I do so much pre-planning for these conferences. Who I need to talk to, what sessions I want to attend, and then notes. And then it's not enough for me to kind of collect it, but it's my responsibility. Ever since I've been going to these things for 20 years. Is I do a conference report after everyone. Here's all the people I talked to. Here's what we discussed. Here are next steps. Here's what I learned. Here's what the team needs to know. Back at Montway now, and then back at Carfax, back at VW Credit, etc. Because when you go to these things, you're just not. They're expensive. The roundtable is the most affordable one, but they're expensive. So if you go there. Shame on you if you're not taking notes. Shame on you if you're not going back to your staff and doing a full meeting, unloading on stuff and pointing them towards the resources that you've been introduced to. Because those of us who can attend, we're blessed, we're lucky. There's a lot more people back home who could have benefited had they been able to be there, but budgets are budgets. So the best you can do is make sure you share what you learn. And you share these great resources that are out there, like the IARA or the ARA. Sorry, old school.
I feel just as exhausted after the convention the next week as I do during that week, because I'm talking so much about the convention after that week to make sure you don't lose it. And so it's like you want to share all that knowledge with everyone and everything that happened. So I'm just like, I don't even remember if I told you, but I'm just going to tell you again.
Right.
Well, I think when you're outside at a conference, it's so much almost information overload that it's helpful once you get back to your home or office just to kind of, even if it's just for yourself, just to do a digest of everything.
Yeah.
And, this is what he talked about, or this is what I want to do from that conversation I had.
And then staying connected after, like how do you keep the connection alive, right? And it's like dating,
Yeah, Greenfield. Steve did a really nice job talking about just that. Pamela, you mentioned it earlier, tribal knowledge. Who's going to be the historian here today, and kind of collaborate and pull all this data together that we learn from, because history does repeat itself. A lot of these things we talk about today, we've been talking about for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So
and Joe helps with that, and Jay helps with that. They are our historians, if you will, right?
That's right.
They document
If you can't catch them live, look at their recordings. It's invaluable. And you find yourself, let's say Labor Day, it's a Friday before Labor Day, you're still working. Guess what? Don't send an email to anybody on the Friday before Labor Day. It's going to get buried in their inbox. Go
Phone call.
listen to
Phone
some
call
of
emails on
Jay's
Tuesday.
previous recording, or go listen to some of the podcasts that are recorded on Cherokee. You just got to work smart, and sometimes it takes a while to figure that out.
Yeah, you mentioned being a historian. Somewhere in our office, we've got stacks and stacks of auto remarketing magazines dating back to the late 90s. So one of these days, we'll have to go through and sort through all those and compile. I already told Steve that I was going to find a few for him so he can continue with his historian project. So,
yeah, that's cool. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm starting to think, Joe, was back in the 1990s. Was that a e-magazine or no? Not yet.
I want to say that we did. So I started in 07, and we had been doing e-newsletters for a couple years at that point. But at that, I think in the late 90s, it was just the print magazine. And then I think
that's what I was thinking. That was a touchstone that got into the office, and there were, like, at the time I was with Volkswagen Credit, I think we got like 6 or 8 copies that landed. And by the time it got around to your department, it's pretty dog-eared.
Yeah. People putting paper clips in there and marking it up. And
Yeah.
Wow.
Jay, we kind of gave you the night off, didn't we?
No, I love that.
Sit back and relax.
Yeah, no, it's kind of neat because, putting this show together, one of the things I wanted to do was to try to, I now, Joe, and you create your kind of media obligation. As I look at the verticals, I'm like, I haven't done an auction show in a while, and the roundtable just happened. So why don't I try to put a meaningful show together with folks from the roundtable, catch up on the auctions, catch up on a recap of the roundtable, and you, in general, that, like here and there, I've been in touch with each of you throughout the years. And that was the goal, but I didn't know exactly what would happen. And here, I'm kicking back listening. I got a couple questions. Okay. For someone that hasn't been to a roundtable, I know that especially in the transportation sector, they feel like it's inaccessible. How would somebody who feels like it's inaccessible pick up the phone, the whatever, and go do it and feel like they're participating?
Yeah,
What's the advice?
That is so easy. You've got Pamela, you've got Scott, you've got myself, you've got Run Buggy, you've got Montway, you got Scott now. I'm trying to. You have so much transportation experience. If I was a newbie, I'd talk to Scott because he's the most experienced. But I guarantee you, anybody on this podcast, if you go there, if you talk to us, I don't care if you're a competitor. That's awesome. I don't care who you are. If there's somebody in the industry that you want to meet and I know them, I will connect you. I just will, because that's kind of my job as an industry veteran. If there's some insight, some questions you have, just ask. I mean, there's some people learn by reading, some people learn by talking. But if you come to these conferences, just ask us. If not, email us, whatever, call us, talk to us.
Message,
We're happy to help, because our job, at least for me.
I know why Joe and I
myself,
got left out of it.
Well, because you're
Jamie is like literally the sweetest, most kind person in the entire world. She will open arms.
Thank you, Pamela.
Jamie
will introduce you to anyone. She was like
choosing your homecoming dress when I started in this industry. So
that is not true.
That is true. But I'll tell you what, if you talk to any of these folks,
The very first ARA that ever happened.
Okay, I want to start something.
You were doing your high school internship when you went there. Come on, let's be honest.
And Joe is also very kind. I mean, you just walk up to Joe and he's like, hey, I mean, I kind of was like, you can't leave. I'm going to talk to you.
And if you want a dance partner at a conference, Joe Overby is your guy.
I
Do
was thinking,
tell, Jamie. What kind of dancing are we talking about?
I was
Right?
thinking Scott Kolb with flip flops. That'd be.
That's what I just said.
Like
Yeah.
two-step in, line dancing. What are we talking about, Jen?
All of the above.
All of the
Break
above.
dancing? Do we do break dancing?
Oh no, I'd break a hip.
But in all seriousness, Jay, if somebody thinks that they want to dip a toe in the water, come on in. The water's fine. Talk to an industry veteran. They're going to listen to you, ask questions about who you want to meet, what you do, etc. They're more than happy to help because
I
it's
got
a pretty
it.
close community.
I know what we do. What, Jamie?
Oh, I was just going to say, and I think if you reach out to ARA, that's the whole point of the program that they're starting, right? So,
Which program is that?
And you're going to go to the ARA and you reach out and you say, I'm a newbie, then the Hand Up program is going to say, we're going to have somebody that can be that for you.
Okay, here's the bridge. I got a great idea. I'm an ATI outsider. Can I come in?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's what we do. Because we have ATI outsiders that they tune in and they don't know how to tap into these conferences. They don't.
Well, we just, whenever you do your before show, what do we need to do? Put our contact information in the chat? I mean,
yeah. That's a great
we're
start.
Here,
And you can say, so in the live, you can say, I'm an ATI outsider. How do I get in?
You will be your advocate.
Can I come in?
Be your advocate. That's one thing we learned at ARA.
Can an ATI outsider come in?
Yes, there are no outsiders.
No outsiders.
There are no outsiders.
They're
Well,
just friends we haven't met yet.
That's what we have to change, because there are folks that feel like they're on the outside.
I think that ARA, out of all the conventions I've gone to this year, nobody, if your fear is that somebody's going to run away from you, I don't think anyone ever ran away. Did anybody have anybody run away from you or turn the other way? No, I think everybody was like, hi. So, and there are conventions where there isn't that. I mean, let's be honest, right, guys? I mean, there are conventions where like people do run away, or they're just like, no, I'm focusing on what I'm going to focus on, and I don't have time for you. But I would say at ARA, I never felt that. I never felt that anybody wouldn't be willing to talk with me, which I think should make people feel really encouraged to join the ARA Summer Roundtable next year, because it is truly welcoming. And reach out to any of us on LinkedIn.
Yeah, or the industry in general, like I think it was Dave said earlier. I mean, it is like this hidden little niche, but it's an amazing one. And so if you are in the remarketing world at all and you want to get more involved, yes, raise a hand.
Right there, you said it though. That's the thing, because I know there are folks, again in logistics specifically, they're not in remarketing. They don't really even understand the word, but they know.
Do they move cars?
Yeah.
So why are they not in remarketing?
Well, you make a good point. That's a show right there. If you move cars, you might be in remarketing.
You are a big part of it.
I mean, yeah.
Everything that we do makes it go round and round. Sorry, Jamie.
That's why I wanted to put a
It's interesting. What's interesting, Jay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
No, I was just going to say, Jamie, what's been interesting to me is I really do, and I know I'm fairly certain every one of you on this call does it, but if I meet somebody specifically at a conference, I take time to say, hey, if you need to know someone or want to meet someone,
yes.
I have a lot of relationships. I'll be happy to make the introduction for you, walk you over. I find more times that they don't take me up on that than they do. But
I'll say, I may not know them, but I know somebody who does.
Absolutely.
We can get you the introduction,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But going back to Used Car Week, I mean, you've got 4 different segments of automotive. You got to find a home in there somewhere.
So again, but this is the thing, orientation or whatever. there are still folks that don't know how do I go from where I'm standing to talking to those guys over there or ladies.
Show up. Start
What's
showing
this?
up. Like literally show up. Don't sit in your room.
So
like, just stand in the vicinity.
Don't
and be
stay in your
friendly.
room. I know that one too. And I was at a used car week a few years ago, and I specifically saw a guy that, I mean, he looked like that first time show attendee. And I wished that, and I did talk to him, and but I wished he had a sign that I now know what it should say. I'm an ATI outsider. Help. I got it. ATI outsider is now the phrase for a noob.
And they have the new stickers. Like they've been better at a lot of the conventions of putting like, "Hey, I'm new. Talk to me." They didn't actually say that, but it does.
That's good. That's good. I haven't seen those.
Hey Jay, I remember sitting talking to a young man at one of the bars in Caesars.
I knew you were going to say this.
That's exactly right. And this guy, he looked like he had a lot of promise. He had a lot of promise.
You got the feeling.
Investing a little time into it, and he was asking a lot of really, really good questions. And we got to know each other pretty well. We still hang out a little bit today. But that guy was you, man. You were asking the right questions, so kudos to you. And so I was able to say, hey, here's what I think. Here's where you need to know. Here's how all this works.
You were, because that this doesn't always happen. You were kind enough to take the time to talk to somebody who's not picking up every word that you were laying down.
Yeah, but all the other 4 people on the screen would do the same thing.
I agree.
My guess
we need to get everybody's contact info
info
and build that orientation tunnel to, hey, I'm an ATI outsider. And I like this branding too, because it shows like, man, I don't know what to say. I don't even understand the word remarketing.
So,
Remark a what?
So go to Remarketing 101 and then 201.
So let me break it down real simply. So in 4 weeks is the NAAA World Remarketing Conference, whatever, things like that. So here's how the veterans approach it. Here's how you should approach it, I think, is with most of these conferences now, they're kind enough to list, here's the attendees, here's the companies they work for. Then you take that list and you go over to LinkedIn and say, I'm interested in this company. Let me look more about that person's background. Where'd they go to school? What do they do? Where do they live, etc. I can reach out to them, invite them to be part of the network. But this is just basic networking. And for the folks who have been in the remarketing world for a while, they'll see a new contact and they'll reply, they'll respond. Hey, talk to me at the conference. What can I help you with now? Let's send a note back. So you start working the conference before you get to the conference is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And afterwards, you
That's
do the same thing with thank you notes. Pamela, it's great to see you again.
You can't wait till you show up.
Yeah.
No, you have to start before.
I totally agree. The ATI Outsider program.
Yeah,
and ATI Outsider at NAAA.
Right
Let's get started.
All of a sudden, somebody who's never talked to you or never responded to you that you've probably emailed 20 times, if it's right before a convention and you send them a message on LinkedIn, all of a sudden they'll respond.
I would say I've had people reach out to me and say, I've heard from my boss that I should reach out to you because it will be my first convention. And so, like, if people know that you are a person that they can reach out to, and yet, Jay, you can put my contact number anywhere. I will be your person. If you think you're an outsider, I will be your person.
I like this.
As long as they can understand her accent, they're fine.
Correct. Yes, as long as you understand Southern needs.
Google now can take care of that. You can
that's right.
feed in a language and get something else. Okay, so I'm gonna keep saying ATI outsider. That's how I'm gonna define this. Transportation worker doesn't know how to access the trade show network. That's what I'm going to call this.
But it could be anyone, right? Anybody.
Sure, it could. That's just my example. It could be anybody. Yeah. Right. Well, and that's why I also learned to keep saying ATI is where everyone can learn more about the automotive industry. Because what I learned was the reason why many major publications aren't read by noobs is they don't know what they're reading. They literally don't know.
Sometimes we don't know what we're writing.
Well, listen, it's really in depth, right?
Jay, I think you're on to something, though. I think
I
you
know.
need to sell shirts or donate shirts to newbies that say, like,
that's what I'm saying.
You're a marketing outsider. Talk to me. I don't know, something.
It's ATI.
Maybe they should be an insider instead of an outsider.
I'm an outsider. Talk to me.
I'm an outsider. There we go. I'm an outsider.
And then we'll have our shirts on that said, "We are an insider. Come talk to us."
Exactly. We'll connect.
Right.
It'll be like matchmaking.
See, and this is where outsider, like Grease is in the socias. It's it's meaningful. Feeling like you're on the outside.
Start a musical? Like, do we need to start?
By the end of the movie, you realize how much you have in common.
Wrong.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
And Joe will be doing the dance lesson.
That's right. Which brings us back to this has been fun, and I'm looking forward to another good one coming up sometime. I know there's many milestones along the way, and so that's where I was able to leverage a recent milestone to create a new milestone to talk about future milestones. I love what each of you does, and I really enjoy talking to you individually, as a group, seeing you all kind of do a recap of what you just saw a couple weeks ago. That was fun. And I want to end with, I'm super impressed by what I'm hearing about the Ernie Garcia candid conversation. I'm blown away just hearing the recap. And I implore the industry to dig deep whenever possible, because that's where you'll find the gold.
And right? I think that the Doug Campbell and Ernie's sessions or chats set the tone for the whole convention. That be open, be willing, talk to each other, find solutions. Like, if it's hard for us, we know it's hard for you, but we're all in this together, so let's figure it out. So.
Yeah, and if you go for your newbie, don't stay within your own tribe. Branch out. If I'm at a conference, if I'm around my colleagues, I'm like Mo from the Three Stooges. Spread out. Just go out, connect with other people, get the most from this event.
And then
that starts at breakfast. Get your ass out of bed, get down to the lobby, have breakfast, have coffee. Some of the best conversations happen, especially with Used Car Week coming up. The best conversations will happen when East Coasters were up waiting for the first cup of coffee. There's probably about 100 meetings that have taken place by 8 a.m. So just be part of it. Get up, make the most of it. And then in the evening, if you're tired, make your calls or whatever. But be around to socialize in the evening. It's like you're on 24/7 at these things if you're really on top of your game, and you can learn a ton, and it accelerates your maturity in the industry tremendously.
And a takeaway from Doug going back, and I think that's what we're doing here today. He said, as a CEO, I surround myself with 4 other CEOs because I know that I can't get better and continue to grow unless I talk to those 4 men in my life. And, we may not all have those 4 people that we get to talk to daily, but we do have those people that we can talk to at conventions. And that's one of my, I would say, best takeaways from any convention is being able to have conversations with other people who understand what I do, who can then share their opinion, and I can grow stronger in my business and as a person. And I hope that, what I share with them allows them to do the same thing. So if nothing else, go to be around people who are smarter than you and who are like-minded so that you can be better. be a better person, be a better employee, be a better leader, be a better boss.
And conventions teach you to ask questions. Go
Right.
asking, not talking.
Right.
And listening.
And listening. What? Yeah, 2 ears, 1 mouth. So.
Wow. Thank you. Jamie, Dave, Pamela, Joe, Scott. Thanks very much. That was really cool. Thanks for a great show.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank
Thank
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Great to
Thanks,
see everybody.
Jay.
Thank you, everyone.
Really
Great
nice.
group.
Really nice.
Really good.
Love
group.
you guys.
Love you guys.
See you
Let me
in
know how I can help.
Chicago. Sorry.
We'll be in touch. All right. All right.
Peace out.
And all right,
Peace.
I'm gonna cut it.
out.
And oh, there's a look. Dave's got Dave's got his little. Oh, Jamie's got balloons. I just want to say this is that while repossession sounds like it is the biggest challenge, it's also what most likely the biggest opportunity. There's Pamela's hearts, which means that coming back to what Jamie was talking about with AI workshops is that AI, man, if we can really ratchet up the AI in the repo, and I'm sure Run Buggy's all over working on this already, is that this would be where AI can make the biggest difference because there's too much happening too fast for somebody to manually figure out. This is the AI opportunity. It's in repo. Dave, I think we just figured out our year 3 topic.
Year 3. You're thinking I'm
Whoa.
still going to be working.
That's
I gotta give way to the young folks like Pamela and Scott.
No, we're not letting you go, Dave. We're keeping you.
You're still going to be around for
You're a keeper.
mentorship, for the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, man. Exactly. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Huh.
Good night.
Good night.
See you
Bye.
later.
Bye now.
Okay. Bye. All right. And I ended the meeting. Oh, that's the main thumbnail. So I did wonder if was this show going to be enough about the auto auction market update or more of a summer roundtable recap? And I didn't want to govern what we would do exactly. Content is alive. I've also realized it's now show 362. There's Jamie in the live chat. If you do want to contact somebody, please do let me know. You can put it in the live chat. You can put it in the comments below. This is kind of what I'm getting at with the ATI Outsider. Is that by just saying I'm an ATI Outsider, I'm banging on the windows and I don't know who to talk to or what to say. So I think I'm gonna stick with ATI Outsider because that's at least something that can be said. ATI Outsider, right? Just pound on the windows. And people come out and talk to you or tell you to go away. They'll be the first one probably. Content is organic, and I'm actually going to be talking more about content as my future hundreds of shows develop, because I see boy oh boy, we're still live. I just want to say this. I didn't want to tell the folks what exactly they had to talk about. I wanted to let them run with it. But I did also know that I want to stay in automotive, and the roundtable recap was really good. That was really good. Because I know a lot of people that are ATI outsiders, they weren't at the conference, they were not at the summer roundtable, and even if they paid for the ticket and they showed up, they're still feel like an outsider. Don't know who to talk to, don't know what to say, wearing the ATI outsider badge. Having said that, I also know that, there's a lot of there's the dealer auction thing, man, is happening. A lot of dealers have kind of gotten into the auction space. So since we didn't fully cover what dealers have done to auction wholesale, there's still a show available in this. What I'll do is I will update part of the title of this show to be Summer Roundtable Recap, because that's mostly what it was. But I really do want to follow up on, and I see, I'm going to say shout out Will Morris with Dealer Club. I see dealers really working hard to go around the auction. Just like you saw, shout out Auto Hauler Exchange, go around the broker, get faster car shipping. One of the things that's really happened in automotive is there is this focus to continue making something better that is, and then there's folks that have thrown out the box, as Paul Machine would say, and are redoing the way things are done. Both things are happening, all things are happening, and then AI, the AI battleship is crashing into all of it. So what, again, getting back into what content is, ATI lets out the facts and truth of all of this. Whereas I think there's a lot of content being made that's still agenda driven, as if nothing's really changed. I don't agree with creating content ignoring what's happening. And that's why I let tonight's show grow into what it should be with this panel. So I'm making a statement about automotive, and I'm making a statement about content, because ATI Auto Business is both. This is automotive content that is, and that is turning into what it should be rather than what I need it to be. I am not driving an agenda. I'm running a channel. It's called ATI Auto Business. And I want to thank all my guests tonight, Jamye Carpenter, Joe Overby, Pamela Bishop, Scott Kolb, and Dave Sutton. I want to thank Superflow Systems, ClearPath TMS, Auto Hauler Exchange, or Murphy Auto Transport. And I want to thank everybody for being in the live chat, on demand, watching and listening. This channel is different, and it continues to change, evolve, and adapt to what is and what will be. Thanks for watching ATI. Let me know how I can help. Send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. I'll see you on the next one. Here comes the car hauler. Good night.